don't be stupid, be a smarty, come and join the Nazi party.
It's a good job you're editing the podcast, John, not me, because I would just take that wee snippet Mary said and just put it on a loop.
I wouldn't put it past John. I'm actually kicking myself for saying it out loud, but whatever. I'll live with the consequences.
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
Roads? When we're going, we don't need roads. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Batman. I am the Father.
Do you know, see, when I was doing I did contemporary German cinema as part of my dissertation at uni, and when I went to check books out the library, the guy went, I can understand why you're studying this with your blonde hair and your blue eyes. And I was like, that is not why I've made this decision. Like, wow, okay. Follows me around.
So what sort of responses Chris had back from launching his website?
Oh, do you know, he put it on his gamer tagged community thing, and people were like absolute strangers were like, oh, this is the best review I've read of this. Thanks for not putting any spoilers in it. Like, it was really, really positive. So I think after months of not working and not engaging brain and just kind of moping about the house, like, that was the exact feedback that he wanted. It was, or needed rather. It was really good. So really positive. So it's encouraged him, I think, to go and do a bit more. There's a couple of games coming out that I think he's like signed up to pre-orders for and stuff like that. So yeah, he was dead chuffed with it. So
All right, looks good. Yeah, I had to look at the site and everything. I haven't read the review of The Last of Us Part 2 because I want to play it. It's obviously got spoilers in it, so...
I thought you said there's no spoilers in it.
Well, I think there's like a mild... I mean, I don't know. I've read the review because I proofed it, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you what happened because I lost him for like 48 hours or whatever it was that he just spent like glued to the PlayStation. So I couldn't tell you because I don't know what's a spoiler and what's not.
I heard he was just crying the whole way through it.
Chris, yeah, he pretty much was. He kept coming downstairs and going... don't think I can play the next bit of that. It's so emotional. And then he would disappear back upstairs again. So it's interesting because I obviously do not game at all. And it's funny because you have that sort of connection with like films or maybe pieces of music and stuff. And I never think of gaming as being that emotional, but it obviously is.
Yeah, I played the first one and it was brilliant. It was just an incredible story. It was a great game as well. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, the story was brilliant. I was playing it and going, this is much better than The Walking Dead. This is what The Walking Dead should be.
It's not exactly a high bar though, is it? Let's face it.
Are they not making a series of this? Did I not read that the guy that directed Chernobyl has signed up to direct a series of this? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cheery.
Yeah, from what I've seen and from Chris's review, I'm like, this is going to be so bleak. But like a lot of the gamer community already are like, oh, I want so and so to play this person, and it has to be the right cast and all this. I think the gamers are quite, and rightfully so, precious about the
Yeah, of course. It's the same idea as books, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
When you read a book, you think about somebody actually. You picture somebody. Yeah. It might not be somebody famous, but you usually have an idea of what somebody looks like. There was a whole the Lee Child Jack Reacher thing when Tom Cruise did it. And he was too small because Jack Reacher's supposed to be like 6'6" or 6'7" or something,
It's the same with the Harry Holt, like, 'cause I love the Joe Nesbo books. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't, never in my life would I have pictured anyone who looked like Michael Fassbender playing Harry Holt. In my head, he was somebody who looked like, almost like a rougher, more weather-beaten Stellan Skarsgård, just that tall, slightly thin kind of blonde hair, but built like a brick shit house, and just sort of, it was the complete opposite of what I thought.
Do you know Tom Reacher? I'm sorry, Jack Reacher thing really annoyed me because who cared really if he's a bit shorter? Tom Cruise is a legit action hero. But the thing as well is, like, on the kind of plus side of that, Hugh Jackman should not be Wolverine.
No, absolutely not.
When he's 6'2".
Yep. Somebody like Tom Hardy's probably closer in height because he's about 5'5".
But can you imagine anybody else in that role now?
No.
It's just sometimes people are wrong. And the thing with the Jack Reacher thing as well, the film wouldn't have got made if it wasn't for Tom Cruise. There's no leading man. Maybe Michael Shannon at a push. It's actually a really good film. Don't mean I'm not the biggest Jack Reacher fan, but wise of that, so I've not got that same connection to people did. But Constantine, for example, Keanu fucking Reeves played Constantine, a character who was based on Sting. A Scouser.
I have no issues with Keanu Reeves ever.
A Scouser that spent a lot of time in Newcastle, in London, with blonde hair, played by Keanu Reeves, set in America. But it was a good film. People just need to be a little bit open-minded, I think, when it comes to casting decisions.
Yeah, treat it as a different property almost, even though I suppose it's getting sold on the title and the IP, really, isn't it? So that's why it's come to screen in the first place.
Well, look what Hamilton's achieved. Like, the casting for that is totally colourblind, and you just accept it. Like, there's no questions asked.
Right, who wants to go first then? About what they've been watching over the last week or so. What I've been watching in the last couple of weeks in terms of films was I watched the entire Mission Impossible collection.
There cannot be peace without first a great suffering. The greater the suffering, the greater the peace. The end you've always feared is coming. It's coming. And the blood will be on your hands.
Which was excellent. Very good. I was wanting to catch up on it. My son wanted to watch the last one, so we just went through the lot of them and watched them. Really good. I watched Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman as well, just because it had been in the news, and obviously we discussed it in the last pod about the Snyder Cut and so I'd kind of forgotten what happened in Man of Steel, so wanted to watch that again. It was really good. Enjoyed it. Batman vs Superman, which was the Ultimate Edition, was a hell of a lot better than I remembered seeing it in the first case. So yeah, it was good. Watched a film called The Departure, which was absolutely awful. It was about a man who is moving to New York. I think he's in Los Angeles or something. He's moving to New York for 6 months, and he's not sure of his girlfriend, so he asks his best friend to try and seduce his girlfriend. It's only like 70 minutes long, and it's not very good at all. It's very, very badly acted and just didn't really work very well. It didn't. I could see why they were trying to make it, but it didn't come across well at all. It was not good. Not good.
I thought you were going to say it was a prequel to Departed.
No, not quite. Watched From Russia with Love, which is excellent, and A White Day, which was the Icelandic film that I did the interview for at the Glasgow Film Festival. We just put that up last week. So that was what I was watching. TV wise, I've decided to watch the entire Arrowverse. So I'd watched some of Arrow and a wee bit of Flash. So I've started about halfway through the third season of Arrow. So at the moment it's just Arrow and the Flash, just because I wanted to watch all of the crossovers that they have sort of halfway through the seasons, but I never really got a chance to before, and it was a bit awkward because you don't know what's happening with all of them, you know, so I'm a bit of a completist that way. I just watched all that. Watched The Rookie, the finale of The Rookie, the Nathan Fillion TV series. Have you seen that, the cop show? It's a bit sort of lightweight in parts, but it's actually pretty good. I quite enjoy it. I know we're not supposed to like police dramas these days or anything, but that's one of the better ones. I quite like that. I watched Banshee. You seen that at all? No?
I've seen a couple of episodes of that, and yeah, I really want to get back into it because it's got the guy, is it Tony Starr, that's in The Boys?
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Anthony Starr, he's the sort of lead actor in it. It's about a guy who comes out of prison and he wants to get what's due to him, which is 15 million in diamonds, and he tracks down his former girlfriend in an Amish town in Pennsylvania called Banshee. And the whole first episode is how he actually ends up becoming the sheriff of the town because the sheriff dies in a fist fight in the bar. Isn't really giving in a way if it's the first episode. And he kind of takes it over, pretends to be the sheriff. It's a complete violence and sex fest, which can be good, but you're kind of like, oh no, come on, just keep your clothes on for goodness sake, you know. Yeah, so there's lots of humping in it. You get more than 2 thrusts as well because it's an 18 certificate program.
It sounds like Ray Donovan.
Aye.
Yeah, there's a lot of people getting their tit off in that as well.
And that's it. Book-wise, I'm only reading one book, the Charlton Heston book, The Actor's Life, which is a collection of his journals from 1956 to 1976, and it's just wee sort of journal entries from working on films from like the Ten Commandments right through to like Airport 75, and just a lot of wee snippets, which is really excellent. It doesn't really delve into any sort of politics or anything. I know he's quite a divisive figure these days with his links to the Republicans and the NRA and all that. So yeah, so that's what I've been watching and reading.
You've been very busy.
I've got a lot of time in my hands.
Don't let your employers hear that.
I don't really feel like I've been watching that much. I mean, I mentioned films and that. I've been watching a lot of TV, but more TV, I would say, than I have been watching movies. I can't even tell you what I have watched film-wise recently, apart from what we're going to discuss later. But I have been watching a lot of Succession.
Everything I've done in my life, I've done for my children. I know I've made mistakes, but I've always tried to do the best by them because I love them.
Have you thought about the possibility that your children are actually scared of you?
Oh, fuck off!
Which is awesome. Brian Cox, Gemma Strong, Sarah Snook, Kieran Culkin, Matthew McFadden, Nicholas Broughton, Alan Ruck. It's a cracking cast. Have you seen it? I heard about it.
I've seen it again. It's one of those ones I've seen a couple of episodes of, and I wish I had. I want time to commit to watching it.
It's so good. They're just incredibly hateful as a family and individuals, and it's hard to really root for anybody. You're basically just going, I hate you the least in this scene, so I want you to do well. But I find it interesting that it was created by Jesse Armstrong, who co-created Peep Show, and yeah, it's a black comedy to an extent, Succession, but it's not an out-and-out comedy. It's nowhere similar in that style, but it's absolutely brilliant. I would highly recommend it, and despite how kind of dark and serious it can be in its nature, it's easily to binge. Yeah. You could just rattle into it. It's very, very good. I've been watching Misfits as well, but that's kind of been put to the side since watching Succession. But I didn't watch Misfits first time it started. I've been catching up with it in film 4. You don't look. Do you know about it, Mary?
No, I haven't. I know about it, but I haven't watched it.
I would recommend it. It's quite good. Not what I expected, but I don't know really what I was expecting that I started watching it. Book-wise, I started reading the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, which you're reading at the Kindle and there's no page numbers, and the book comes as a trilogy, and I'm like, I've been reading this for hours and I'm going 5%. It's quite defeating. You know, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. But I did read The Ritual last week. Adam Neville, I think it is. It was a film with Rafe Spall. Did I see it?
Oh yeah, the one set in the woods. That one, yeah. Aye.
The book's very, very different for the film, but it's worth reading. If you enjoy the film, I'd definitely read it. It's almost like 2 different books though. The first half's at the end of the woods, and the second half, I can't really mention because it's spoilery, but it's something totally different. But yeah, I mean, the first half especially is absolutely brilliant. It's just really fast paced and just really tense. Like I'm sitting reading it and like Jen's trying to speak to me, I'm like, shh. But I didn't really think it's scary, so it's just really intense, which very uncomfortable book. Very uncomfortable. I think that's me. I haven't really. That and Love Island Australia, obviously. I've been absolutely addicted to that. Honestly, you're never going to get a better drama than Love Island. It's incredible. It's one of the best edited shows I've seen on TV. And I genuinely mean that. I don't take the piss. It's so well edited in how it constructs a story.
Is it not all scripted?
Probably.
It's noticeable how you wanted the racist comments taken out of the podcast, but you're quite happy for Love Island to be left in.
It's interesting when you leave, without context, you leave that in, and it's like, well, speaking of racists, maybe it should. For the listeners that can't see us, Mary is wearing a My Little Pony hat, and we all know how that's been in the news recently, or they just me that noticed that. Apparently there's some link between My Little Pony and Nazis, and I don't know how or why. Okay,
first of all, for our listeners, I'd like to clarify that I actually just have a French Bulldog on my t-shirt, and I've never even played with a My Little Pony.
It is a French Bulldog, I'll admit that, but it's a French Bulldog in Occupy France.
It's not an Alsatian though, so that doesn't make me a Nazi. I'm trying to think. I've watched what we're going to be discussing. I watched The Square.
What are the biggest challenges in running a museum?
We're a museum of modern and contemporary art, so we need to present art that is the art of today, art that is absolutely cutting edge, and the competition is fierce. If you place an object in a museum, for instance, if we took your bag and placed it here, would that make it art?
Which I felt was a bit up itself, as you'll be able to tell from my Moviescramble review. It just kind of rambled, and I didn't really feel like it ever got to the point. And then I watched the original Karate Kid this weekend, which was good fun. And TV-wise, I watched the Epstein documentary, which was equal parts interesting and equal parts disgusting. And I felt like I needed a shower afterwards. I binged my way through all 3 series of Borgen, and don't know why that hasn't been in my life before now because it was so good. Watched a couple of like true crime things. There was one on Channel 4 called Murder in the Car Park, and then I've been sort of half paying attention to the Unsolved Mysteries series on Netflix because it's just a kind of easy watch. Books-wise, I have read Moonlight in Odessa by Janet Charles, which is about Ukrainian mail order brides. Thomas, you might want to pick that up.
Is that a catalogue?
Well, there used to be in the 80s. That's how you would literally get a catalogue sent. Anywho's, I also read Unsheltered by Barbara Kingsolver, which is a kind of split narrative between, it's all set in one big old house set back in 1800 about a female scientist who was largely ignored even though she was peers with Darwin, and then sort of modern day family living in the same house. I've been ploughing my way through the Philip Kerr, Bernie Gunther books, and I'm really sad because I'm only 2 away from the end, and I know they're going to end because obviously Philip Kerr passed away, but I don't want to give up this character just yet because I'm really enjoying them. Just sort of World War II detective novels, easy read but really enjoyable. And I've just started The Crow Girl by Eric Axel Sund. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get into this because already there's like really graphic descriptions of child abuse, and I don't know, there's like 700 odd pages and I don't know if I can read that for that length of time. I thought it was like going to be a kind of Scandi noir type of book, but it's very graphic and it's just really uncomfortable to read, so I may give up on that, although I hate doing that with my books.
It's fairly comprehensive then. I mean, we have obviously watched it, a hell of a lot of stuff between us over the last couple of weeks or so. That's pretty good. Yeah. Some interesting stuff. I started reading those Bernie Gunther novels. I maybe read 3 of them, I think. Yeah. It's initially set in Berlin, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all sort of, apart from a couple of trips to the south of France and at one point Argentina, which you can probably guess why he was there. Most of it's set kind of in flashback in Berlin. But yeah, I love them. They're super easy reads. And I like that era. And not I like that era. Let's just clarify that before Simmy says something else.
I resent that a lot. I'm just going to say this here because I'm looking at stuff on Nexus 2 here. One of the quotes from the review was apparently William Peter Blatty went and said you'd think you were watching the producers.
No way, what a tie-in.
I
didn't really realise there was sequels, to be honest.
Oh yeah, there's a TV show as well. The TV show's actually quite good. That was out recently. I can't remember the main priest guy in it, but he's very, very good. The first season anyway, the second one is good, but not as good. But no, I kind of mentioned Galaxy Quest. I've been watching I watched a documentary on Galaxy Quest recently called Never Surrender, and it's interviews with it's on Sky. It's the original cast. It was Sam Rockwell, Sigourney Weaver, Tim Allen. Unfortunately, not Alan Rickman because it's very recent. But it made me want to go back and watch Galaxy Quest because it's such a good film.
It is, isn't it? It's one of these films that Star Trek fans really love as well because it was a Star Trek convention, I think it was, and it got more votes than Star Trek Into Darkness in terms of the Star Trek ranking.
But this documentary's good because you've got Damon Lindelof on it as well, and he's talking about it, obviously. He talks about the impact it had on the Star Wars reboots and things like that. And it's just a very interesting story about the movie. And yeah, I like it, Mary. It's a really good cast. And it's kind of one of those films that just kind of flew under the radar.
I feel like somebody posted about this on Twitter recently because I know what Alan Rickman's sort of makeup looks like, and I've never seen it, so I feel like somebody posted on Twitter. As an aside, did you guys see how the Washington Post announced?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Yes.
What was that? They
What's
made the sounds on the Washington Post. If you look up their Twitter, because I can't provide this, they announced Ennio Morricone's death in a phonetic description of the Fistful of Dollars sort of theme music or most iconic music, and people were just like, what the fuck, Washington Post? That's so disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, what I try and do here was basically famous composer Ennio Morricone died. Yes, the guy that wah 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 wah, and you're like, man, what? And it's just got a torrent of hate towards it.
Sammy, I'm so glad you did that because I could never have done it justice, but it was fucking terrible.
Do you know what the worst thing is? The headline's so badly done as well. I didn't even know what bit of music they were talking about.
I had to sit there and go, wow, wow, like in my head to try and work it.
It doesn't work. You're like, what are they talking about? That sounds ridiculous as well, consider what it is they're talking about. But actually, it's such a bad headline, it's not even clear what they mean.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I bought on Blu-ray The Love Witch.
I'm Samantha Robinson, the star of the new 35mm motion picture called The Love Witch. In the movie, I moved from San Francisco to Eureka to start a new life where no one knows me. And I meet a lovely woman named Trish.
Hey. Hi, I'm Trish. Well, what do men want?
Just a pretty woman to love and to take care of them.
I set up shop as a witch, and I start to use my love spells on unsuspecting men.
It's one that I missed at Fright Fest, but I think it's got quite a kind of cult following. It's a kind of, I think a sort of like 70s style horror. Have you seen it?
I have. I've seen it years ago. I couldn't tell much about it before. I need to watch it again. The 70s exploitation movie, but it's not. It was filmed like a few years ago.
Yeah.
You would be mistaken easily by thinking it was done back then, because it is. I didn't like the film, if I recall, but it is very well done as being of that era. I
thought it would be like Andy. I think that's why I sort of convinced myself I would like it, because I've got that, and I've also ordered The Black Coat's Daughter, the A24 movie as well. So that's going to take a month to come for some reason.
Where's it coming from?
Oh, it's Amazon Prime, but apparently it's super hard to get a hold of because it wasn't. I think it's got a different name in America and stuff like that, and I don't think it was well released. But it looks really. I saw it in the Half in the Bag reviews, where the guy that looks like you, Simmy, and I thought I'm going to buy this and watch it.
I've got The Love Witch on Virgin Box. I recorded it when it was on Film 4 about 9 months ago or something. Never watched it, but yeah,
it's a good. Sorry, guys.
It's a good excuse to. It got pretty good write-ups at the time, so yeah, I'll quite happily watch it. And it's a new Tom Hanks film that's coming out on Apple.
Oh, the special effects in that look pish. And that's just in the trailer. Sorry. Even the trailer looks pish. It looks like something that I've mocked up on Illustrator.
Just went total Ouija there.
Slips out occasionally.
There's a new Blumhouse horror film, The Vigil. It's coming out on the 31st of July. It's actually coming out in cinemas. That's the day that obviously all the major cinemas open. I just got an email about that. Just come through there. So there's.
And are we 100% convinced they're opening in Scotland as well?
Yes, they're opening nationwide on the 31st, because obviously it was originally the 10th and the 15th or something, wasn't it? But yeah, Cineworld have said, yep, whole of the UK, 31st of July. So. And
do we have to wear masks while we're watching the movie? Because that's going to be a real problem with these.
They haven't given guidelines yet. They're going to send out emails to everybody that order.
See anything? I'll just put on my own breath.
Yeah, that's what Jen's issue as well. Got the shops and stuff. It's just beneath under glasses, you can't see a thing. I mean, it's Blumhouse, so I would watch it anyway. I just didn't think the next film I would go and see with Blumhouse, and probably the last film I go and see, because I'll die after it. Yep. I'll leave the cinema and there'll be like Ghanaian pallbearers outside dancing.
Where has that come from? Like, you post that all the time. Like, it's so funny, but where does it come from?
It's a genuine funeral ritual. You can hire these guys in Ghana, and they basically want to add some kind of colour and festivity to the funeral, so it's not a celebration. So it's more of a celebration. And they're genuinely legit. They're real people, but somebody went and just took it and put this dance song over it as a meme, and it just kind of caught fire. Because it's not even a new thing. It's a couple years old.
It's a New Orleans sort of thing, isn't it? That's where they have funerals like that there as well.
Yeah, Festival of the Dead type idea.
Yeah, aye.
Similar to that.
I want a funeral like that. I've already told Chris my funeral song that I want, and he just keeps ignoring me. And if it doesn't get played, I'll come back and haunt him.
Is it the one from the Eurovision film?
Imagine it was. That would be hysterical. No, I want Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, because I feel like that's sufficiently camp but sombre enough. To straddle both sides.
And are you expecting people to sing this song?
Yeah, and I'd like you all to get your lighters out as well. Because despite the fact that Chris is a man who smokes, I'll probably go first through stress and anxiety.
I like how you think that you're going to die before I am. That's really encouraging.
Yeah. I need to go as well. I've used to pee for the last 45 minutes, so I'd have a there too.
And we've got something else to start the podcast with. There we go.
And I did keep it recording.